Aloha, everyone. I hope that you are well and this message finds you safely at home. Today is Monday and Holy Week. The reading for the day comes from the Gospel of John. This is John chapter 12, verses 1 through 11. 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, the home of Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. There they gave a dinner for him. Martha served, and Lazarus was one of those at the table with him. Mary took a pound of costly perfume made of pure nard, anointed Jesus' feet, and wiped them with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, the one who was about to betray him, said, "Why was this perfume not sold for 300 denarii and the money given to the poor?" He said this not because he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief. He kept the common purse and used to steal what was put into it. Jesus said, "Leave her alone. She bought it so that she might keep it for the day of my burial. You always have the poor with you, but you do not always have me." When the great crowd of the Jews learned that he was there, they came not only because of Jesus, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. So the chief priests planned to put Lazarus to death as well, since it was on account of him that many of the Jews were deserting and were believing in Jesus. If you look at the Gospel of John, this reading actually happens before our Palm Sunday reading of Jesus' entry into Jerusalem. But I think you can make the argument that we read it today, the first day in Holy Week, weekday in Holy Week, because it kind of sets the stage. You have a taste of resurrection with Lazarus being present. You have Mary anointing Jesus and Jesus forecasting his death, mentioning his burial because of it. You have Judas and his betrayal becoming ever more apparent. And all this while they're gathered at table, reminiscent of the Last Supper. So it really does set the stage nicely. As I was reading this, I found it interesting that Mary made the choice to take this costly perfume and anoint Jesus' feet. I was wondering, did she know what she was doing? Did she understand that this would open the door for Jesus to discuss the events that were to come? And as I was thinking about it, I had another question. Does it matter? Did it matter if she understood the bigger plan and the events that were going to unfold? She took a faithful step. She did what she believed she was called to do in the moment, and it made a difference. Then I wondered about my own life. Does it matter if I understand the bigger plan, as long as I'm taking faithful steps? Does it matter for others? I'm reminded of the many people that have contributed and led me on my faith journey. Did they know at the time that they were pointing me down that path? I was specifically thinking of the priest that I had in college when I first joined the Episcopal Church, Bill Allport. At the time, he was at St. Peter's Episcopal Church in Honolulu, where I attended Sunday evening service. I was very new to the church, and I was already kind of feeling a call to ministry. But I figured it was just too early. I hadn't been around, they didn't know me that well, I still needed to prove myself. But one day I finally got up the nerve to have a conversation with Bill. I went up to him and said, I've just been thinking about this a lot, and I'm interested in ministry. I kind of think I might be called to this. And he was so affirming. He saw it in me too. Even though I didn't think it made sense, he shared such kind words, words of encouragement, that emboldened me to continue down the path, to begin the discernment process. At that point, the next step was to be received into the Episcopal Church officially. At that time, did he understand what an impact he would have on my life? What if he had said no? What if he didn't see it? But in that moment, he was kind. He was loving. He affirmed my choice to start discernment. I think that every day we have the opportunity to allow God to work through us. Maybe it's in a conversation or a prayer or a smile or a phone call at the moment. We may not understand why. We may not know the impact of our actions. We don't know how it fits into the tapestry of love that God is weaving. It's only a strand in the tapestry. But as long as we're taking those faithful steps, I think it's okay that we just don't know. We may never know. But it's about the small things. One of my favorite quotes is, "Do small things with great love." I think that is exactly what we're called to do. In everyday situations, take a faithful step. We may never know the impact it has on someone. As we journey through Holy Week, I hope and pray for you that you can make space. You can make space to pray and be open to the Spirit, to the small steps that we're called to take. Even if we don't understand, even if it doesn't make sense at the time, because you never know. You never know what God is doing. God works through us, sometimes in spite of us. All we can do is take the next step. I pray in this time that you have the courage, the strength, and the faith to do it. Stay well, everyone. God bless.